Lost Mr. Dwight.
He's on there. He has to unmute.
Hello?
Yep, that's Mr. Dwight.
Hello? Hello?
Okay, we're getting ready to start our meeting.
Here? No. Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, Mr. Dwight.
Okay, it's 6 o'clock. We have six of the members present. Mr. Dixon is absent. Therefore, we do have a quorum. So at this time, Mr. DeHaye, if you'll lead us in the invocation, please.
Yeah, nothing else. Here you go. Noise. Ain't nobody saying nothing.
Mr. DeHaye, you have to unmute first.
Really? Yeah.
Okay, Sammy.
You didn't hear that?
We could not.
Thank you.
We
Let
could
me know
not.
when y'all are ready. I got that.
Everybody
You want
speaking.
me to do the invocation over?
We could not hear your prayer, Mr. Art, but we could definitely see it and know that you did pray, and we appreciate that. At this time, let's pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. At this time, I present the minutes from the last meeting. Has everybody had an opportunity to see the minutes and they are okay with it? Please give me a thumbs up.
I'm going to go ahead and apologize. We did not provide the minutes from the last meeting for, and I'm sorry, that was just, it's a standard item on the agenda, so there are no minutes to approve tonight.
Okay, the minutes were not prepared, so we won't be doing that tonight. So let's see. At this time, we'll be taking our first application. Will be the application for the car dealership up in the Door Range area. Madam Administrator, you have the floor.
Yes, sir. I'm going to go ahead and get PowerPoint going on here. So the first item for your consideration is a special exception request. This is a property off of Dorchester Road, just outside the town of Reevesville. It's off of Highway 78. The property is about 5.5 acres. It's previously wooded. It has been cleared. And the area that it's located in, it's primary residential and agricultural in nature. It is, however, along Highway 78, which is classified as a principal arterial. It is fronted, however, by those small rural agricultural and residential lots. The applicant has submitted responses to those 30 questions that they have to for a special exception, and they are attached for the board's consideration. They are proposing an auto sales lot. They're limiting themselves to about 10 cars. Hours of operation are listed as 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to noon on Saturday, and they're estimating number of employees at about 2 to 3. In order to keep the impact low, as I said, they are limiting the number of vehicles on the lot to about 10. The external impacts from this use are expected to be minimal. Traffic counts will be low. Dorchester Road, which is Highway 78, is adequate to support this business at this location, and a site plan was submitted which shows the proposed layout of the site. And so that's shown right here. It's upside down. If you look at it, you'll see the north arrow shows north towards the bottom. So Highway 78 is the road at the bottom of the map. Bryant is up at the top. So they're showing access coming in off of Dorchester Road. And then the building, let's see if you can see the cursor here. So the building's set back here. They've got the parking area over here, which is about 175 feet off the street, a light pole here. They're showing a security fenced area that'll be about 125 feet off of the property line over here, maybe 75 feet off of the property line here. So they're meeting all their setback requirements. They're showing the depth for their 50-foot buffer requirements. They may have some planting that they'll have to do in order to meet those, the planting requirements for that buffer, but they have the space with no problem. And most of the other homes, I think, in the area are set back maybe about, not quite as far as that primary building, but they are also set back a little bit off the street. And the board is only approving the use at this time. The applicant, again, has submitted this general site plan, but I will note that this site plan still has to go through technical review committee process. And so some of those might change during that process. So these are kind of generalizations. It shows that they can meet these requirements on the site, but it will still have to go through that additional review and approval. Outside of AC district, car sale lots are generally require general commercial zoning, which is limited to about a quarter mile from a major intersection. And where these uses have been approved by the BZA before, outside those general commercial areas, they have placed limitations on the number of vehicles and or allowed for extra landscaping along the roadway. That has been a requirement in the past. So again, those 30 questions were submitted for your consideration. One last thing to note is that with regard to the comprehensive plan future land use map, the property is located within a rural neighborhood. Settlements in these areas should preserve the useful agricultural lands in that residential neighborhood character. So that's the intent of the rural neighborhood. After reviewing the request, staff provides the following facts. One, that secondary retail uses require a special exception in the absence of control zoning district. Two, low external impacts are anticipated as a result of this business. Three, type B buffers are required and are provided on the proposed site plan. Four, Dorchester Road is adequate to handle any anticipated traffic generated by the business, but it is primarily residential in nature. Five, the proposed hours of operation are generally daylight. And six, the comprehensive plan future land use designation does not support this business at this location, as it is intended to support agricultural and low-density developments. Therefore, based on these facts, staff recommends approval of the request with the condition that the size be limited and that the board may want to consider additional mitigation options.
Does any members of the committee have a question for the administrator?
I have a question. So the side, I guess, setback on the right-hand side facing the property is due to that pond being there?
Let me see. Oh, yeah, so there is that pond there on the site. And let me pull this
It's
presentation.
125 foot. Let me find the diagram again, but right.
So
Yeah, so if
you've
you put-
got this pond up here,
Right
you
there.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Right.
that's where you'll have that 175 foot and probably largely due to that pond, yes, sir. Being down here.
Okay.
Any other members have any questions for the administrator? Hearing none, there's no public here, but I need to open the public hearing. And being there's no one here, did we have any written for or against?
No, we received no written comments
Had
on
no
this request.
correspondence, so let it be recognized, had no correspondence. So at this time, we close the public hearing. At this time, I will entertain any questions or a motion on the car lot for this Doe Range area.
I have a question.
Go ahead, sir.
Kira,
Yeah.
what kind of mitigation of border would the county like to see for this? Being that a lot is cleared and that some of the pictures that I've been able to find, it seems like some buffering would be good or would be beneficial to this project.
Yeah. So what we've done in other areas and on other roads and in other areas of Highway 78 are considered a transitional overlay district, which has a buffer requirement. It does not, however, extend past St. George. So I think it would be appropriate to place some landscaping requirements consistent maybe with our TOD buffer, which would just be between the right-of-way line and maybe going about 15 or 40 feet back, you'd have some plantings in there.
So essentially from the property boundaries coming back to be equal with the business somewhere within 20 feet of the co-joining property lines?
Yeah, so usually your transitional overlay buffer will run the full length of the property along the roadway, and it'll go back a depth of anywhere between 15 and 40 feet, depending on the overall depth of the property.
Yeah, because with this lot, the way it's cleared, it seems like it's surrounded by residential. So with the TOD buffer, they would be required to plant whatever width of buffer along the boundaries that we may put in there for mitigation.
Yeah, so the TOD, it's a pretty standard buffer. It has a set planting requirement, and other businesses along these major roads elsewhere in the county would have to do that for this type of business. But because the overlay district stops once you get to the town of St. George, it doesn't extend out this far, which is why it doesn't apply to this property. But I don't think it would be inappropriate to make it, have it apply on this, in this instance.
Do you know what kind of plantings they are as far as height or density? I mean, are we talking ground cover to 3 feet? Are we
It's a
talking
mix.
more like myrtles or something that are 8 feet?
It's going to be a mix of trees and, so not quite canopy trees, I don't think, but it'll be a mix of trees and shrubs. It might have canopy trees, understory trees and shrubs, or it might just be trees and shrubs.
Sure. Thank you.
Madam Administrator.
Yes, sir.
How are the homes situated? I mean, how close are the homes to this property?
If you look at this general map, you can see this is the subject property here, and you can kind of see the residential cluster that's around it. The town of Reevesville is over here. It ends just about here, and you've got a good number of homes, a couple dozen homes right here in this vicinity before, again, it becomes more rural in nature as you head up further on Highway 78. But these are a mix. These lots are anywhere from maybe 2/3 of an acre to 2 acres in this general vicinity here.
Okay. Any other members have any comments before we make a motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I actually would like to hear Mr. Sammy Reeves. I know it might be a little difficult for him, or even Mr. Dwight's thoughts on this because of the fact that it is in their end of the county and they're more familiar with it.
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
We can hear you.
Oh, I know exactly where this is at. I don't think it would have any impact on the neighbors or anything for what they want to do. I'm all for putting it up there. If that's what they want to do. But I know exactly where this is going. I don't know about Mr. Dwight should know pretty well where it's going too. He lives in that area, pretty close. Y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Okay. Any other members have any comments before we call for a question? Mr. Dwight, you with us? Mr. Dwight?
You may need to unmute your mic, Mr. Dwight.
Okay. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion. Because of the difficulty in understanding who's speaking, just if you would identify yourself, because some of the voices are on this end is a little hard to understand who it's coming from. So if you would, just identify yourself so we'll have it on public record that you are the person that's speaking.
It's not on.
Mr. Chairman, this is Sammy Reeves. I'd like to make a motion that we pass this with staff's recommendations. I don't see them. I don't have them in front of me to tell you exactly what they were, but whatever the recommendations were, I make a motion that we accept this.
There's a motion made by Mr. Sammy Reeves that we approve this recommendation. Sammy, is that with or without any extra buffer?
I don't think you need any extra buffer up there and that, with the location where it's at.
Okay, all right, so we have a motion at this time that we recommend the petition as presented. Is there a second?
This is Becky. I would like to second the motion, please.
Said, yes. Second by Ms. Becky, is that right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, any further discussion?
I do have one concern or question. During further technical review, would any other part of this process allow for the use or insert of a TOD buffer if needed?
No, it's not a requirement in this area, so it wouldn't be required during the technical review, site plan review.
Did you understand there will be no, the regulations don't go that high up in the county, so they would not be reviewed to require any buffer?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I think when you pass St. George, you don't have that requirement. So I think I stand.
Yep, that's correct.
Isn't that correct?
St. George is the limit, you're right. Any other comment?
No, sir. I just wanted to play devil's advocate for the sake of it, for the co-joining landowners, since there's no other, public comment or anyone here, just taking into account, even though this appears to be a very small, isolated business that they want to have the opportunity for, just want to make sure that concern is just addressed. But
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comment? At this
Mr.
time,
Chairman,
we'll vote.
Wait.
Yes, sir.
Comment.
Mr. Chairman, exactly where is the cutoff in the St. George area? Is it the town limits coming in on 95, or exactly where is the cutoff? Just for the record.
Where does the town limit of St. George cut off?
Yeah,
It's after you cross over
where?
95.
95.
Okay.
Yeah, you cross over 95, and then I think there's a handful of properties in the town. I think that the Country Inn and Suites off of 78, I think that's the limit of St. George.
Okay. All righty. Thank you, ma'am.
Yep.
Okay. At this time, we'll take a vote. I just asked all of you to say, give me a thumbs up, or you want me to do a roll call? Would that be the simplest?
Yep, that'll work.
Yeah. Let's do a roll call, then that way we'll know. Mr. White, how do you vote? Still not with me. Miss Becky?
I give it a thumbs up. I approve.
Mr. Art? Yes for Mr. Art. Mr. Glenn?
I approve.
A yes. Mr. Sammy?
I approve.
Okay. And the chairman votes for. That's 5 in favor. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passed. At this time, we'll move on to item 2, the water tower buffer extension. Ms. Administrator, if you would, please.
Yes, sir. Let me get this pulled up here real quick. So the next item for your consideration is a variance request to reduce the buffer requirement for a water tower. This is for a new county water tower located off of Carter Road. There's on the site where we already have an existing well and storage building. It backs up to the back of Bridlewood Farms. So if you're looking at this map, when they did Bridlewood Farms, they included a piece for a school. They also included a piece for a future county park. And, sorry, lost my screen there real quick. They've got the future county park site over here. They've got the school site over here. And this is the existing site for the well and storage facility. And they're proposing to put a water tower on here. However, as we've seen with the total site size is 2.5 acres. And as we have seen with other cell tower requests, we've got that height to depth setback buffer requirement. And what that requires is that for every foot high that the tower is, you have to be set back 2 feet from the property line. And when this case with a tower height, I think proposed about 250 feet. You have a setback requirement of 500 feet. So if you have that setback requirement from all property lines, you actually require a 23-acre site in order to be able to locate this water tower to provide this public service utility for the area. So that's been pretty burdensome. We've relaxed that standard for the cell towers that we've seen recently that have come before the board. The board also saw another water tower request about 3 years ago, maybe 3.5 years ago, for the water tower up in Ridgeville that was also experiencing the same technical difficulties with that buffer requirement, where it just required a very large lot size. I think most of the other water towers that you see in the greater Somerville area are actually located on only a 1, maybe a 2-acre parcel. This parcel is about 2.8 acres in size. So it's consistent as it is right now with the other water tower sites in the area without having to put that additional height to depth buffer setback on it. The other buffer requirement on the parcel is a 50-foot type B buffer where it's against institutional or residential uses. And that buffer requirement, when we look at the site plan here as a whole, the water tower itself, is in the middle of this lower, so this is the existing well and storage facility. So this is where the new water tower will be going. And when you look at that part of the site, you can see it on here. You've got the water tower in the middle. You've got the drainage coming off down here, but there's a lot of site grading and site work on here that doesn't leave space for that 50-foot buffer requirement. But we feel that the park site wrapping around it will provide enough of a buffer that it'll meet that requirement. And then up here on the northern side, where it abuts that residential piece of property, they're not actually making any changes to that portion of the site. And this greenscaping up here, the existing buffer is already 50 feet in depth. It might even be a little bit more than 50 feet. It might be 60 feet to meet that requirement. And then over here on this side, you've already got existing access there. So there's no change to the existing. And then this portion of the site where you're going to be impacting with new, I think the park site would be able to absorb any buffer requirement that you would find for that. So after reviewing the request, and actually the applicant did provide those 4 questions in there for your consideration, and after reviewing the request, staff does have several findings that actually I need to pull up here real quick. And those staff findings are, if you bear with me for just 1 minute. All right, so those findings are: 1, that the lot in question is 2.8 acres, currently has an existing well and storage tank. 2, the intent of this water tower is to provide water service to the area. 3, in order to comply with the requirements of the buffer ordinance, the lot would have to be at least 23 acres in size just for the water tower. 4, locating a water tower on the parcel does not create a detriment to adjacent property or harm the character of the area. And 5, the lot size and regulations do not apply to other lots and uses in the vicinity and are unique to this lot / use. And so based on these facts, staff does recommend approval of the request.
Any members of the committee have any questions for the administrator? Where's Carter Road on this map? I cannot.
Yeah, this is very difficult to orient yourself on. So if you're looking at this map right here, Carter Road, and I'll get it back to the presentation mode. So Carter Road is right over here. So this is the access drive into the site. It comes down here. Carter Road's just over here. So from over here, you can see this is the water tower, this is the access drive, this is Carter Drive right here.
Okay, I got you now. Okay, I can see it there. I looked for it on that other map.
And we do have the applicant, the Director of Water and Sewer, on the line, and he may be able to address.
And that
any
goes through the
questions.
Trotter's Ridge, right? It goes through the Trotter.
Bridlewood Farms.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It backs up to Bridlewood Farms, yes, sir.
Okay, Bridlewood, okay. Any members of the committee have any questions of the administrator?
I have a question. This is Glenn.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So the surrounding area, you said that was for a school and a park? That was already planned, like a planned urban development?
Yeah, well, so when they did Bridlewood Farms, the developer of Bridlewood Farms ended up donating land to the county or to the school district over here for a school site and to the county for a potential future park site. So there's no immediate plans either with the school district or the county to put these in place, but those pieces of land have been subdivided and deeded over to the county and the school district for use, for those uses.
Okay, so the current developer has said nothing about this, pro or con?
No, and actually, I think the property's in transition from a prior developer to a newer developer. I don't know that we've received any development proposals or plans out here, any preliminary plats or infrastructure plans in a number of years. They're aware of it, though, and I might let Mr. Harper speak to that more.
The original developer is no longer involved in this project. Any other comments? Hearing none, we'll open the public hearing. There's not anyone present. Do we have any comments for or against in writing, Ms. Administrator?
No, sir. We have received one inquiry on the property. Just a couple questions about the tower, the height, what it would look like, but no comments were provided.
Okay. Having no written inquiry or no one's here for the public hearing, I declare the public hearing closed. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion on this petition. Can you move this map?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to approve the request based on the facts and findings of the staff.
Motion is made by Ms. Harper that we approve it as recommended by the staff. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Glenn. Is there any other comments? Hearing none, I'd ask that, let's do the roll call, please. Mr. Dwight, if you can hear us. Cannot. Miss Becky? Ms. Harper?
Approve.
Approve. Art? Mr. DeHay? You have to turn your mic on. We lost him.
I approve.
Okay. Mr. Reeves?
Approve.
Mr. Dickinson's not here.
I'm here.
Mr. Dixon is here.
Oh, okay.
Right here. I approve.
Okay, approve. And Mr. Glenn?
Yes, I approve.
And the chairman votes it's unanimous, so the motion passes. All right. All right, at this time, is there any old business that needs to come before the committee?
No, sir, no old business.
Any new business needs to come before the committee?
No, sir, none at this
No
time.
new business, there's no report of the administrator?
No, not tonight.
No report, none?
Yes, sir.
Any public comment? No report of the chairman? If not, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion's made, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
The meeting's adjourned. Thank y'all. It's been not as hard as I thought it would be, but thank you for your participation. And we'll be in touch. Good night.
Over to the house,
Thank you.
Good night. Good night.
Brian.